I was recently working with a client who is into female domination and wanted to go see a professional dominatrix. And it got me thinking, why are some men into being dominated by women? And today I'm going to give you some of the most common reasons. So whether you yourself are interested in female domination, or it's just a curiosity that you have, or you yourself feel like you're the dominant and you want to be dominant in your relationship with a woman who is a submissive, stay tuned, because this is going to help you to get a 360-degree view on dom-sub relationships, particularly those with the female in charge. Number one reason is relief from control and daily pressures. When you surrender to any dominant, but especially to a dominant woman, you are provided with a comfortable escape away from your everyday responsibilities. You're like escaping all responsibility. You don't have to think about anything other than what your dominant is telling you to do and how to do it. Your bills, your relationships with your children, the light that you've got to change in your car. None of those things are allowed into the fantasy world that you create, or your dom creates for you in the fantasy of the dom-sub relationship. You are actually able to fully relinquish control and relax into the safety of this structured dynamic. And I think for men in particular, being able to relax and have a woman make all of their decisions, it's unique. It might bring them back to childhood where they were raised by a mom and raised and attended to by women and female teachers and caregivers. But it also means that you don't have to make any decisions for yourself, and that can be so relieving. Number two, a deep exploration of vulnerability and self-discovery. When you submit to a dom, you are able to be vulnerable in a space that is designated for that. It is literally set aside for you to actually be your most stripped down self. And your desire for vulnerability, which you might not allow yourself to really have as a man in the world, is given a place to be expressed safely in a scene that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So if you have a desire to experience a safe space, one that will allow you to get in touch with and release your emotions and maybe even discover what's really deeply inside of you, being dominated is a great place to do that. Number three, I touched on this earlier, freedom from decision-making and the expectations we have of men. Men in particular can find that following a female dominance command is a gender mind especially if you live in a more traditional masculine role when you're the person who's making all the decisions and maybe your female partner is relying on you to be the leader in the relationship. This gives you an opportunity to connect with your other side, to yield, to not have to be the one who knows what the best next move is, and that is a lot of pressure for men. Number four, psychological and sensory thrill of power exchange. The power dynamic between a dominant and a submissive is layered. There's a mental connection, there's an emotional connection, there's an erotic connection. There's also a lot of physical and sensory things going on. There is a lot of depth to that session, and there's so much that can be explored within it. Number five, the allure of gender dynamics and forbidden play. Playing with or straight up reversing what we would consider traditional gender roles and adding a power exchange element can be thrilling. It can fulfill a desire to break from the societal norms and explore something that is considered pretty taboo. And taboo things can be erotically exciting in and of themselves. That is the basis of kink itself. Number six, empathy, guidance, and structure. Dominant women, whether that is a lifestyle dom or a professional dom, provide discipline. They provide a framework. They provide rules. And for the submissive, having this whole world and this framework to live inside of can help them to feel like they are seen, like they have purpose. They are given a set of very clear instructions, and that is what they are to follow, and nothing else outside of the scene is allowed to enter. And it is so nice and relieving to just know that your only task in the world right now is this singular task, and there's a right and a wrong way to do it. The truth is, in our world, in our day-to-day lives as adults, we don't get a lot of that, right? There's like maybe a right and a wrong way to do your taxes or drive, but there's so many variables that go into it. There's so much decision making that goes into it. When we have a singular structure and we are just supposed to follow those instructions, I don't know, it's like the pleasure of building IKEA furniture. Just do this one thing, get it right, and then you will be rewarded with like a new desk or like an orgasm. And then finally, number 7, the spiritual and mystical connection. There are so many elements of BDSM that are ritualistic, almost ceremonial in nature, and that is true in female domination. And this can create a spiritual experience that actually provides a sense of fulfillment and devotion. Ideally, if you are with a phenomenal female dom, she is going to give you an opportunity to worship the goddess, to connect with the dark, divine feminine. In a world where we don't have a lot of really deep spiritual outlets, not too many that are connected with our eroticism, our turn on, arousal, and orgasm, that can be a tremendously transformative space. So if you are interested at all in femdom, I hope that you will give yourself permission to go check it out. Do your research, check reviews, talk to any dominant that you're thinking about working with first, because you really want to have a connection that is based on a foundation of safety and trust before you go into submitting. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fully get the experience of being a sub. And if you are a dom, I hope that this helps you to understand a little bit more of the sub psychology and how you can be a great dominant or just a great leader out in the world to the people who follow you. I'm Caitlin V. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you here next week. Bye.